Velocity and acceleration both describe motion, but there's a difference between the two. Velocity means the rate of change of your position. Acceleration means the rate of change of your velocity. Both of these are vector quantities, meaning they also have a specified direction. The units used for velocity is meters per second. Now, velocity basically refers to speed. But in physics, there is an important difference, and they're not quite the same. Physics slash. Speed is a scalar quantity. And so that means it describes only the magnitude, such as something like 5 miles per hour or 3 meters per second. Now, velocity, now that's a vector quantity. So it has both magnitude and direction, such as 2 meters per second along the x-axis. Or it could mean something like 100 miles per hour south on the I-75. So as long as there's a direction, it's a vector. Now, to get velocity, the formula you will need is v is equal to distance over time. And this could also be thought of as the derivative of your position, which we'll call x, with respect to the change in time. The units used for acceleration is meters per second or meters per second squared. This means that your velocity is increasing some amount of meters per second. So, acceleration is your rate of change of velocity with respect to time. This is also a vector quantity, as it has a magnitude as well as a direction. An increase in velocity is called acceleration, while a decrease in velocity is called deceleration. And you can write this equation out as the second derivative of position with respect to time, or maybe even d squared over dt times x. So the formula is the change in velocity over the change of time, or it can be thought of as the second derivative of position. So maybe you have an object that's speeding up from 0 meters per second to 30 meters per second in 20 seconds. Now, what's the acceleration? Well, let's see. You have d 30 meters over d 20 seconds. Now, this just means 0 minus 30 meters over 0 minus 20 seconds. And this gives us 1.5 meters per second squared. Now let's do a couple problems. A plane's average velocity between two cities is 600 kilometers per hour. The trip takes 2.5 hours. What is the distance? Now we have our velocity, that is 600 kilometers per hour, and we have our time, that is 2.5 hours. What is the distance? What's our distance? Go ahead and pause the video if you'd like to figure it out for yourself. Now, we know velocity is distance over time. If we rearrange the equation, we have distance is equal to velocity times time. So 600 times 2.5 is equal to 1,500 kilometers. That is our distance. A roller coaster's velocity at the top of the ride is 10 meters per second. We'll call that our initial velocity. Two seconds later, it reaches the bottom with a velocity of 25 meters per second, and we'll call that our final velocity. And our 2-second time. What is the acceleration? We know that the acceleration is the change of velocity over time. So we'll put 25 meters per second minus 10 meters per second over 2 seconds, which is just 15 over 2, and we get 7.5 meters per second. So 7.5 meters squared. This has been a quick introduction into velocity and acceleration. I hope you got as much help out of this video as I have. Please like and subscribe if and only if you got something out of this, and I'll see you all next time.